The fight hasn't even happened yet, and Britton and I are discussing how astounding the money already that has been generated and coming in is, and it's already breaking records. So according to ESPN staff writer and the report from William Hill, their sportsbook in Nevada, they have already taken more money on Mayweather and Conor McGregor 48 hours before the fight than they had through the entirety of Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao.
Wow.
And that's not even the last minute Jason Rubin bets where he's in there throwing everything in his kitchen sink to try and get some sort of bet going on. So
his little 500.
Yeah. So it's expected that this is supposedly, in May 2015, a record 81.1 million was bet on the other category with Mayweather Pacquiao, the fighting totaled 60 million statewide. They're expecting the handle on Saturday's fight to easily eclipse that amount, with estimates as high as 80 million plus. So it's already expected to break records. It's gonna break records. People are gonna be betting crazy. Vegas have already been touted that if the unthinkable happens and Conor McGregor knocks out or beats Floyd Mayweather, they're gonna have the biggest loss they've ever had.
Oh yeah, Vegas is going to be drenched if Conor McGregor
it's gonna be an Irish party, I'll tell you that.
It somehow pulls this one off. But you know, to those numbers, man, I think that this is just a reflection of, this was a fight that people wanted. Yeah. This was a fight that derived from social media. It shows you the power of social media. It shows you the power of, you know, people being on their phones and engaging. It shows these networks, when the fan says that this is what they want to see and the situation is right, you have to get all your resources behind it and make it happen. The numbers, to me, just says, you know, people just, they understand that this is history, whether it's history is going to happen, right? So either one man is going to shock the world and become the new face of boxing, or you have a 40-year-old fighter who is going to reach the mark of 50-0. If you think about Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, all the greatest fighters that you've ever, you know, watched on television and had a reverence for, they've never performed at their greatest or at their peak at 40 years old. Floyd Mayweather, 40 years old, still looks like Pretty Boy Floyd. Yeah. You know, I mean, he's been off for 2 years, but even then, he looked like no one could beat him. Yeah. So history is going to be made regardless. And I think that these numbers are just a testament to people understanding the magnitude of the event and wanting to take part in it more than just being a standby fan, more than just saying, hey, I was there. People who have money say, and I put this much money down and I lost this much, but I was a part of it. Or I put $1 million up and I only took home, you know, however much, but I took part in the event. I think that people really just want to have some type of connection with this event.
You read my mind with the next point I was gonna go to, but regardless of how excited I'd be at this fight and how much I believe someone would win, I would not be putting $1 million on just one outcome, because what it was reported, 2 $1 million bets were placed on Mayweather. And we don't know. People walked in with $1 million, I'll take it. Regardless of how confident, man.
Stop telling my business, bro. Stop telling my business.
Hey, Britton, tie one arm behind McGregor's back. Have him drink 2 bottles of Jameson, which is Irish, so he probably wouldn't be a problem. Have him go out to the strip clubs, Mayweather strip clubs, and just be absolutely battered until 20 minutes before the fight. And I would still not be putting $1 million on Floyd Mayweather, because that is just way too much. He could slip and just fall and knock himself out. Yeah. You know, who knows what on God's earth, because there's a difference between putting £100, or as Jason has told us countless times, 500 or whatever he's putting on it. You lose, you're like, well, I'm still part of the event. But how can you enjoy the event when you know, unless you're a prince of Qatar and you have so much wealth you don't know what else is done, which probably is the same. But if you're a reasonable guy who has some amount of money, that's still $1 million, man.
I guarantee you there are several princes out there just walking around the streets, throwing money around. This is the money fight. This is the money fight. There's a crocodile skin belt on the line with real diamonds and sapphires in it. You know, like, these guys are making Floyd $300 million, Conor McGregor upwards of $100 million. These are record-breaking numbers. I mean, we've seen Floyd do these numbers before as far as earnings, but Conor McGregor, this changes his life. Floyd Mayweather just changes his life regardless of how he comes off. $300 million is $300 million. Yeah. So with that type of mystique about the fight, you attract a certain fan. You attract a certain viewer.
A certain level of wealth.
Exactly.
I'm sure
So I just call it the jet, and I'm gonna drive out to Burbank Airport. And
funny story actually, Vegas again. The Nevada airport, just basically McCarran Airport, came out and says if you're going to fly the private jet, don't be waiting last minute, because they're going to be expecting to have remember for MAYPAC, there was a photo that was on Twitter of just all the jets.
Yeah.
That was right there, and that was around the time that Jason and I were running up and down the strip trying to get any sort of interview we could. Yeah. So luckily Jason's carrying that torch on his own this time, whilst I sit in the comfort of my own home watching the fight, or wherever I decide to go, maybe an Irish bar, because my Irish blood has not been hidden. That's what I'm going to watch.
I can't watch this fight at a bar, man.
You have to sit and just.
I have to be able to control the environment. I have to be able to watch it with some level of just
focus, without having some drunk Irish guy or me throwing up all over the side of you.
Exactly. So don't show up.
But you should show up. There you go, for a transition to our live stream. Watch that on Facebook and on YouTube. We will be talking everything around the fight. So I haven't got your prediction yet, Britton, and I'm just going to save it for this clip, because I know you said it on another clip. Like, specifically, you told me it was a stoppage, right?
Yes.
But what round? If you're going to do the Mystic Mac / prediction on when Mystic Mac loses.
Okay.
Prediction.
So if I can just, if you'll indulge me in
of course.
How I think the fight is going to play out. I think the first 2 rounds are going to be very exciting. On the contrary to what people believe. I think that Floyd will make good on his promise to stand toe-to-toe with Conor McGregor, not initially. I think that he makes Conor McGregor come to him, as he makes everyone come to him in the first couple of rounds. I think that Conor McGregor has a lot of, built in, he's energetic, he's ready to take Floyd's head off. And Floyd lets him swing wild, kind of graze him a little bit, make it exciting for the fans. I think around 3 and 4, you start to see Conor find his range, Floyd find his range, and that's where the fight's going to get really interesting, around 3 and 4. But once Floyd finds his range and he does his homework and he does his download of, this is where I need to be to land my jab, this is where I need to be to land that right-hand pot shot, I think you'll see Floyd start to, kind of taper off. And as Floyd is tapering off, I think we'll see Conor McGregor's energy level go down. Under those lights, under those circumstances, getting hit with the kind of shots that he's going to get hit with, he's going to build up a little bit of frustration. I think that, we'll see the master at work, 5, 6, 7, taking those body shots that I detailed in our how Mayweather beats McGregor video. I think he sits down on a couple of good body shots, which is why the point that we haven't talked about, I think the 8-ounce gloves, if it benefits anybody, I think it benefits Floyd. Because the kind of body attack that Floyd is going to administer in the ring is something that Conor McGregor has never felt before. And while your energy is going down and you're getting hit to the body shots, it makes weasels, as we'll say, out of tough guys. Yeah. You may want to do something, but if your body's not cooperating with you, you're going to sit down. And so I think that around 7, 8, 9, that's when I'm predicting that we'll get one of three outcomes. I think that either Floyd knocks him down with a body shot and makes him take a knee, or he is just curled up in a ball and we get a 10 count. I think that his corner throws in the white flag and they say, listen, you got a newborn baby. We made $100 million. You win either way. We have options, but we can't keep letting you take this punishment. He's too sharp. Yeah. Or I can also see Conor McGregor mentally weak, tired, stamina going down the drain, and Floyd just landing, and I can see him looking for a way out of the fight. And I'm not saying he gets disqualified. I can see him taking a 10 count out, or I can see him doing something a little bit shady that makes the referee say, look, it's enough of that. So I think around 7, 8, 9, we should look for a stoppage.
I'm with you on the way things start, but I do think, and this is just fandom aside, I saw something different in Conor McGregor in the second Nate Diaz fight. I saw someone who admitted, and if people think that Conor McGregor doesn't admit that he was mentally weak in that moment, then you're just not a fan of him, and you just think that you just want to validate your own perception. He admitted it. He was mentally weak in that fight, the first one against Nate Diaz. He wasn't prepared. The second fight, I wasn't one who was standing up screaming, all right, McGregor, finish him, when he put Nate Diaz down 4 times. He composed himself and he thought, well, there's no point in me exerting my energy to beat a guy that's almost never going to tap out because he's got the heart of a lion. I just know what I have to do, which is stay composed and stay back a little bit. So on that note, I do think that Conor McGregor will get hit in places that he's never been hit before, but I just don't know if he will resort to what people would think Conor McGregor should do, being in unfamiliar territory by throwing rash and erratic punches. I think he will try to be as mature as what he was in that Nate Diaz fight, where he'll understand that that's not going to benefit anyone. I think that his mental toughness from all the stuff that I've watched on him will show through to preserve himself. I think he'll lose, and I think he'll lose on points, and I think he'll take some damage. I think Floyd Mayweather will definitely just put him in his place in the way that he will show how out of his depth he is. But I just think that it might be the running strategy that people said McGregor had in the octagon, even though when you are 4 rows back, which I was in Eddie Alvarez, there's not a lot of space to run in that octagon. In the boxing ring, there's a similar thing. It looks a lot bigger when you're watching, but running from someone can be very closed. It can be a very tough job to do when someone's coming at you. So it's more so of his body, I think, just trying to preserve the amount of punches that he'll be able to take, and he'll try to just save face for the last 3 rounds. That's my opinion. I think that he'll lose on points, but he'll try to save face, which people will take as, oh, he ran scared for the last 3 rounds.
Well, I hope that his corner, and this is something that I have not seen much in an MMA fight, but I hope that his corner, if they see or feel, if they discern that he's taking too much punishment from Floyd Mayweather, I hope that they don't underestimate the kind of punishment that their fighter is taking.
Just because it's not MMA.
Exactly. Because what you'll see in MMA is, because they have the 4-ounce gloves, the damage is apparent. The person is out. They can't protect themselves. They look dazed. Because boxing, you fight in 8-ounce gloves and the punishment seems less severe, sometimes you don't find out till hours or days later the kind of damage that you've sustained. And we've all seen fighters go into the ring on fight night and not come out the same. And I am a fan of Conor McGregor. I appreciate what he's done for combat sports. I appreciate what he's done for MMA. And I also appreciate what he's done for boxing, because he's brought a more youthful energy. He's transitioned that millennial demographic who traditionally will sit down and watch UFC fight, and he's bringing them to my sport, and I really appreciate that. So, you know, I never want to come off as if I'm not appreciative of what he's done. But I would hate for him to go into this ring with Floyd Mayweather underestimating Floyd's power and what he can do, and his corner also doing the same thing, and then him leave the ring and not be able to perform the same or be the same person. That would be the only loss that I can see anyone taking in this fight.
Well, we know what, remember with Chris Eubank Jr.'s fight, where it was apparent that the boxer on the receiving end, sorry, his name's evading me, but Chris Eubank Jr. was delivering some of his most just spine-tingling, jaw-breaking, rib-breaking punches, but because it maybe wasn't as apparent visually, they allowed the fight to go on a little bit longer, and that fighter ended up going into a coma and really struggled afterwards, and Chris Eubank Jr. felt awful afterwards. I remember there was a report where one of the reporters tried to almost make it seem like Chris Eubank Jr. and his dad were aware, but they weren't. That's on the corner of the opponent to make sure that they step in. So that's a valid point to take into consideration, but we won't leave it on a somber note, because we're gonna be happy regardless of what happens, as long as both fighters emerge healthy, because it's something we've never seen before. So I won't be able to sleep that well if I'm thinking about. I probably will. I'll probably have a couple of glasses of wine. I'm not kidding. I'm joking, but I will have my support hat on at some point during the fight. But once I leave that fight and I come on the live stream, I'll be able to take it if Conor McGregor is embarrassed away. Or not embarrassed, but if Conor McGregor loses in this fight, it's not going to be the point where I'm a sore loser just because I like the guy. But regardless,
we're all professionals here.
Yeah, we are all professionals here. Come on, Conor.